with you. But we'll start immediately, and let's take off to the women's planet. Welcome to the Women's Planet. Let me introduce our speaker. On my right, Hissah Al-Sabah from Kuwait. Hissah, you are today the president of the Arab Women Council, created in 1999. But you were the first lady in business in Kuwait, firstly in fashion, then in a medical hospital. Then you created your own gallery to give a better support to artists from your country. But finally, your passion is to promote Arab women in business. Welcome in Paris and in Deauville. Nadia. Nadia, Acogny, you were born in Senegal? No, in Benin. Wow, in Africa. We are all from the same country. And you are fluent in 9 languages, which is my dream. You founded in 2005 a consulting company based in London, and you advise big companies about their growth and talents. And you are also a columnist at Forbes Afrique magazine. Fei, the youngest of our team, you were born in Manchuria, in China. You started your career in France in 2003. You decided to work in a marketing agency, but you thought finally, after several years, that it was not exactly your dream. And your dream was to establish a bridge between cultural exchange between China and France. And finally, you decided to create your own Franco-Chinese comic book publishing house. And Pilar, Pilar Castillo is from Mexico. You were born in Veracruz. You are an accountant. You are the managing partner of Mazars, an auditing and accounting organization. And you are leading 2 offices in Mexico, Querétaro and Toluca. And you are also a member of the Women Entrepreneurship Association of Mexico. Let me introduce myself. I am the moderator. My name is Muriel de Sauveur. I work at Mazars. Mazars is an auditing and consulting organization based in 72 countries with 14,000 people. I have 2 jobs. One is marketing and communication, and the other one brings me here today is diversity. And I'm going to talk to you about today is a survey we conducted with United Nations Women French Committee. So what is the topic of today, and what are we going to talk about women's planet? At Mazars, we think gender equality is a key issue. But we also like to understand, because we want to convince our staff, our partners, that we need to work on gender equality. So we like to conduct survey. And previous year, we conduct a survey on Generation Y, about men last year, and this year we conducted a survey on 3 generations of women with the French Committee of UN Women. So 3 women generations. The first one, named by us W, because in some countries it is named baby boomer, but in other countries baby boomer doesn't mean anything. So we decided to design them W. Women are born between 1945 and 1960. Second generation, named X. Women are born between 1961 and 1980. And third generation, or the youngest generation, the Generation Y, or millennials, born between 1981 and 1995. We asked 2,382 women in more than 100 countries to answer our questions. And firstly, we wanted to know their perception about gender equality in their country. We wanted to understand not the real situation in terms of legislation, but how did they feel about their rights. And so we asked them to give a rank, to score out of 10 their continent or their country. And the average of the answer is 6.13. But it's interesting to see, so you have the figure on the slide, that there is a line between the US, which had the highest figure, going through Europe, going to Asia, coming back to Latin America, then going through Africa, and ending by Middle East. And I'd like to ask my speakers, the speakers who are in front of you, how do they feel when they look at the figure in front of them? So Hissah, for example, would you give the same figure or not? And why not?
I would not give the same figure.
Hissah, you have a micro. One micro for 2. We share everything.
I will give a higher grade for the Gulf countries because they're highly educated, the women, and their status and equal for gender, between 2 genders, it's equal. They're the only thing that had stopped them was going into the military, and they do have the military 3 years ago, and they have the military ranks and the salary-wise equal to the men. Maybe in the other Arab countries, there is no equality between the genders, but I'm talking about the Gulf states equal.
Okay, thank you. And it's true that we need to focus on this part of the world because we don't know it very much. And there are a lot of women who are very empowered and very powerful.
Very true.
Yes. Thank you, Hissah. Nadia, Do you think Africa has the right score?
Again, I think in Africa we're going to have different scores. This is really an average, if I can say, because some countries are going to have a much higher score in terms of gender equality. Benin, where I come from, gender equality is not the problem. The main problem women face, particularly in business, is more access to funds. But gender equality is not an issue at all.
Okay.
And it's in the tradition.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would give a higher score. And
Okay.
Senegal also, which
So we could
is
have
my
a
other
higher
home.
score.
Yes.
Thank you. What about Asia? Fei, you have another micro that you can share with Pilar. And what do you think about Asia?
I'm not very good at numbers. But what I know, I think it's not about the absolute gender equality. It's more like culture like. The same thing even happened the same way, but it's perceived differently. And so, for example, when I see the number, I have I couldn't relate to what I see in China, because according to the law we are equal.
Yes.
But when you live the everyday life, and you do feel we are different. So I don't know how to measure that in number, but I think this survey is definitely interesting to try to see the different perceptions. The perceptions is different to what reality actually is reflecting in front of us every single day.
Thank you, Fei. Pilar, what is your feeling about Latin America or Central America?
Well, in Latin American, I think that we have a lot of work to do. Even in the laws says that we have the same rights. There's a lot of machismo in the culture, so it's not equal. It's not equal the way the rights that they have, the activities that they have, the salaries and all of that. So I think that is a lot of work to do. Maybe in North America is different. That's why it could be an influence in those numbers. But in Latin American, they still a lot of work to do for have an equal equality between genders.
Yes, we'll see that later on.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So evolution comes from legislation, but also from feminism. And you know, today in our country, in France, when you mention the word feminism, people look at you in a wrong way. But I do believe that it is very important to share what is feminism. So we ask the women, is it still an issue? And how do you name it? How do you feel it? And it's interesting to see that the words are not the same depending on the generation and on the geography. So the W generation, our generation, Hissah, found that it was a battle. And it was a battle because we fight for something. The generation X thought probably that they got everything. But finally it was not true. So they were rather disillusioned. And it is a time where women's network were created and feminism became a social movement to bring a lot of women all together to discuss and to share issues. And the Generation Y has several words depending on their country. So when the young girls are still fighting for rights, they still believe that it is a fight, a battle. When the young girls are living probably more around Europe, they still believe it is a movement. And when the girls are living in the United States or Canada, they feel that they've got everything and they think it is a philosophy. I'm not sure it is true and I'm not sure they've got everything, but it's how they answer it. So it's interesting to see that now today we see a reborn of feminism, or it's what I feel in many countries. So, okay, women are now working, and they answered that they have decided, they have chosen, they have chosen their profession, their career. 79% of surveyed women state they have chosen their career. I think it's a very high rate, but I think that we can think about the way people, I mean, if you are a lady, if you are a girl, if I explain to you that there are 10 professions that are possible, you may say, okay, I will choose among the 10, but I won't let you know that there are many other professions. But anyway, this is a nice figure. The second figure, we asked them, is it possible to have everything? A career and a personal life. And 76% said, yes, it's possible. But, because there is a but, 63% of them see maternity as an obstacle. This is a discrimination. This is an obstacle to their career. And 53% of the women have already felt discriminated against. And the highest figure of discrimination was from Latin America, Pilar. 61% of women who felt discriminated against in your country. Do you have any comment on this? Because it is the highest figure in our answers.
Yes, unfortunately, in Mexico, there's a lot of machismo in the culture. It's ingrained in the culture. They are subtle forms in many, in the way, in the communication, in our traditions, in our words, in our life, in everything is involved. It's something that has become invisible. That even for men or women, they didn't notice those subtle forms of machismo that is involved in everything. Of course, if you live in this type of society, you always have some experience in your personal life or in your professional career about discrimination or obstacles or hostility from machismo. And this is something that we have to live with that. We have to learn how to live with that. And sometimes we didn't notice because it's the way we learn to socialize with each other. It's the way that how we were educated. So yes, I have some examples in my personal life, in my career, and one of them is when someone in Mexico, they cannot believe that a woman doesn't want to be married or doesn't want to have a child because they think that there's not other way to be happy or that a woman has to need to be married or in that
to follow the rules,
the patterns of the society. And sometimes when you say that you don't want to follow those rules, it's a surprise for them. And this is my case. And also at work, they don't know how to work with a woman as a peer. They don't know how to work with a woman in a team. They need to be in a position of power when they take all the decisions, and they only is important their opinions, and or sometimes they try to seduce you or to follow some other traditions with the women. And this is something that, for example, in the firm, I'm the only woman partner in a firm that is integrated 50% by women. And it took for me 19 years to become a partner. And 10 years after that, I still the only women partner. So it's very difficult for women to arrive to those positions. And when I became a partner, everybody told me that I broke a non-written rule, that is no women partners.
I know this is our aim at Mazars, to increase the number of partners. Hissah, you were the first women in business in Kuwait. Did you feel that women are still discriminated in business in your environment?
They broke that barrier that only men were in commerce or in industry. Now we find women also in investments and in the stock market, and also in construction, which used to be only for men. Now she's having companies in construction and we have one lady, she's in oil refinery also.
Okay, so great.
Yes.
This is a big change. So now we know that women want a career and a family. How to do that and how to achieve this balance? And what is new is that they don't want to be helped. They want to share, because it's a shared family. And obviously, they want to share with the partners. This is not a surprise. But when we ask them after the partners, what could be the second help, they mention the employers, the company they are working with. And the family is only ranked at the 4th position. So this is something new. External help is ranked 3rd position. And I thought family should be 2nd position. So I was very surprised by that. And we all know, and we feel that at Mazars, that now men and women have to understand that a family is a men and women issue, and not only a women issue, as it was understood before. When we started to work at Mazars on diversity, the topic was maternity leave, part-time. And it's not anymore what we have to work on. So I'd like to ask Fei, do you think that in China, companies are conscious of this demand, which is increasing everywhere? How can employers in China help family?
Just this question, I thought about the whole night. And I came up with
I hope you slept.
Yes. I came up with actually a very simple image. Is if you put the east at right, at left, and the west at the right, and you put employer at the top and employee and on the bottom, you just imagine that if an employee from China and he comes to his boss or she comes to his boss and saying, "I'm really sorry, boss. I'm really, really sorry. I'm pregnant." And the boss will say, "What? I told you not to get pregnant for the first 3 years." So you have this sort of anger coming from up to down. And if it's in the Western society, we see much more like, "Wow, congratulations. I'm happy for that you are living a new period of life, and let's organize." So yes, I think there's much work to do in Chinese society, especially from the point of view of company point of view. And if they can trust women or people who's needing some support, I'm sure women will be more faithful to the company and to give much more than she could just before she gets pregnant. So yes, this is a very serious issue, and we need more discussion in China.
And we need more discussion with both men and women, because it's a family issue. It's not a women issue. So we have to change in the mind of the people we are working with this point of view, which will take a bit longer. So now let's move to their dream. We asked the women to highlight the most important values for their life. And I was very surprised to see at the same level, which is the first one, freedom and respect. Maybe you think it's obvious, but I was looking for freedom when I was young, not at all for respect. I thought it was just I had it. And that is something that changed from our respondent, and we had a lot of verbatim about respect that women and the youngest women are demanding all over the world. And I don't know if you see clearly on the slide, but ambition is at the bottom of the list. So equality, justice, it's obvious that we can see them at the top. But ambition, I'm a bit surprised by this word, which I like, and which is at the top. Nadia, what do you think of this position of ambition?
Well, if I look at African women right now, the picture is very different. They are extremely ambitious. They're really go-getters. There's a big change. I've worked on a report for Forbes Afrique last year on the top 100 most influential women in Africa. What I've noticed going through this was how women have broken every barrier. There's absolutely no domain in terms of work today where you don't find women, be it in research, technology. They're everywhere. They're ambitious. They want to get to the top. They're educated. So it's a totally different picture. Freedom, yes, they want freedom. Respect, most of the time they have. The society is different. So from the outside, men show power. In the inside, women have power. But it's just the way they turn it around so that men keep their pride. But it's a different type of society, and it works. That is what I've seen.
Thank you. So now, how are we going to do to ensure that gender equality will improve? We ask the women to answer this question. And of course, they point out education first, followed by work. And the third one, which is not written on it, on this slide, is freedom of expression. And I'd like to ask Hissah about this, because this common action, freedom of expression, comes a lot from Middle East.
I will go back to the word respect.
Yes.
I have a son who's 28 years old. And I've learned from him to respect his ideas. The word respect, he kept on saying, respect my ideas, mother. It's a different way that I was brought up, because I didn't follow my ideas that I wanted. I had to education and trust from my parents. But for him today, he's educated, he has the freedom, and he wants the respect that I should give him. I should accept his ideas and respect the way he thinks, because he's educated and brought up in a different age, an age of technology today. It's not my age. So he's the son of technology. He's got ideas that sometimes I don't know where he brings them from, and his friends, and they believe them, and he chases his ideas, and he's managed to make his own company and succeed. So I do respect. This word respect is so much there that I had to apply it to myself, that I have to respect his ideas. And yes, there is a lot in my country. I have to say that the girls have followed their ideas. The parents have given in. And we have a fund for small and medium enterprises. And a lot of girls have achieved. They've become into restaurants, pizzerias, some mechanic garage. And the parents have respected and given their children this respect to follow their ideas and achieve in business-wise.
Yes, so it's improving a lot. And I remember verbatim, I found in the survey, a woman said, my mother had the respect of her family. I want to have the respect of the society, which is the situation today. Young women and men want to have the respect of the employer, of the society, about their ideas and about their choices. Okay, let's move to a more optimistic answers. When the women were asked if they consider that women from the next generation will see an improvement in gender equality, 77% answered yes. We'll see an improvement for my daughters and granddaughters, and we also see an evolution on the financial point. So they truly believe that we will see an evolution. Just coming back to what you said, I think we need now to work on stereotypes, because when you mention the fact that machism, it's still very important in your part of the world, but everywhere, and that we even don't know that we are dealing with this every day. We have to work on that. And I truly believe that it is the key issue for tomorrow. Now, I'd like to open the debate to the floor and to continue the debate with you. So if you have some questions, we will be very happy to answer them. I see a lady with a micro, and I see one hand. If you don't mind to say your name and to ask your question.
Hello, hi, my name is Samar. I'm from Tunisia and I'm a writer and activist. My question is for Mrs. Hissah. And my question is, you mentioned that in the Middle East, or at least in some Gulf countries, women are empowered, while in other Arab countries, they're not. So what was the recipe? What was the factors or the reasons behind this women empowerment in Gulf countries in the recent years? And how can this experience be inspiring and enriching for women in other Arab countries that can thrive for it?
Well, your example for you, Tunisia, the time of Bourguiba was the leading Arab country. When we started the Council for the Arab Businesswomen, we found Tunis was much ahead of us. She was in the Chamber of Commerce, she was in industry, she had a business, and while we in other countries, Arab countries, we did not have business societies. So the other thing that we found out that the government and the head of states are very much in the Arab, I'm talking about the Gulf states, are very much interested in the woman to encourage her, to enhance her chance, and to empower her financially. There are certain companies, certain banks, certain societies where women can go and have a loan, and the loan is over 30 years to be paid back with no interest. So that will help a woman within her enterprises. And also there are other institutions that will help. There is the private institutions and there is on the government institutions to help, because now what happens in the Gulf, that there are lots of people before my age, my generation, were civil servants. Now there is not enough jobs in the government. So they're pushing all those young graduates to go into private business. So they help them with loans. And these are small or medium enterprises. And also there are loans over 100,000 and a million KD, which is equal to about $3.5 million. So the governments are pushing all those young graduates to help. And in 2008, we had the Islamic conference summit in Kuwait, and His Highness the Emir gave a donation of 500 million, and also the Majesty King of Saudi Arabia gave another 500 million, and these are for the young entrepreneurs in the Arab world. So what happens is a lot of projects by those young entrepreneurs come to Kuwait or Saudi Arabia to be studied and to have loans. So please, the doors are open for the Arab world.
That's a nice answer and a positive message. Is there another question? Yes, I see a hand in the front row.
Good afternoon. My name is Ana Cristina Kolb. I'm from Brazil, and I'm living in Switzerland or in Europe already for 25 years. My question is just one. Why you think women are getting empowered? And this would be for the floor. And I would like just to listen from you, your opinion about that. And my statement is just that, in my opinion, the reason why women are now being empowered in society is because women are helping a lot financially. And in our way of living today, we are much more consumist. Do you think really that we are getting the work with also the recognition that we are, that we deserve with the work for assuming all the responsibility we are getting?
So what is exactly your question? I'm not sure to have understood. Do you think that women...
we got the power to be going to work.
Yes.
And I think this is a result of the consumism that we have in society nowadays.
Oh.
And so family is needing help of the woman also going out to work and bring money home. But how much is that coming also with the rewards of taking the same level of responsibility for the household?
Okay. Who wants to start to answer?
Let me see if I got your question right.
Yeah.
You're saying that today the women are going into business because they need to help their families, or is it because the governments and the private sector are recognizing that they should employ women and that women employment would change the economic growth of each country?
I would say that in if we see from the private view or from the government view, I think we have got the understanding that the women are necessary for the economic growth,
yes,
and for the well-being of the family from the financial point of view.
But you don't think that is a good thing?
It is a good thing. The thing is
Okay.
like, how much are they willing to be rewarding us to step up to those responsibilities by changing laws, by supporting in the household the men? How much are they willing also to give back for we stepping up to those freedom and those place they are giving us in
How much the
space.
government will reward women
Yes.
to be part of the development of the country?
Yeah. How do you see that?
Well, that is a very general question, because I believe that each country has different needs and expectation from the woman. If, like we say, Egypt, which is an agriculture country and also industry, so all the agriculture is on the woman's side. The woman is working in the agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
So they have recognized that, and they're doing a lot of projects to help the woman in agro. And because she doesn't need a lot of capital. Mm-hmm. But in industry, she needs a lot of capital, and that's why they doing these mergers between the Gulf countries and other Arab countries, where the Gulf countries have the money and merging the money from the Gulf countries. That's what we're trying to do through the Council of Arab Businesswomen, getting the money from the rich countries, the rich women, into helping. One example is that we have had given a huge land in Sudan to help the Sudanese women in agriculture, and the backing is the money coming from the Gulf. And this is how women to women, which also not just this, it's women to women helping each other.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other question? Yes, I see another hand.
Thanks. My name's Sarah. I live in London. I found it really interesting, kind of the insight you had into the generational differences and how women of different age groups feel about feminism and how they view it differently. What impact do you think that has on bringing women together in the drive for equality? Does it create difficulties, or do you think ultimately it doesn't make that much difference if you're trying to bring together a group of women and unite them around a common goal?
To whom do you give your question? Nadia, you have the micro in your hands.
Yes. I think women have a nature of solidarity anyway, no matter what. So whether we see feminism as a battle or a movement of philosophy, women will always get together to do something together. And earlier on, when we were listening to Mrs. Ertherin Cousin, and she was saying, rely on your friends because women always help women, it is the truth that if there is a situation with a woman, other women will always come together to help. So I don't think the name we give to that solidarity, whether it's called a battle or a movement or a philosophy, doesn't matter. We will always, because for me, feminism is an underlying matter in a woman's life. It's part of our life, whether we do it actively or whether we do it silently, but it's always underlying.
It should be part of our life. Pilar, you want to add something?
Also, I would like to share my experience in Mexico. Most of the women in Mexico think that the women are complicated in at work, to work together, women. But my experience is that I have all my team, most of the team is for women, and also my right hand is a woman, and we work very good. We have I think we have a different way to have the approach, more sensitive, and my experience, my personal experience is that we used to help each other because we understand. I have some mothers, and we need to be very flexible to give the time when they have some problems or some other issues or other priorities. So we try to support each other because we know that it's a great value to have a women. They are very committed with the company and with all the objectives of the company. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Is there any other question? The last question of the debate. We just have 2 minutes for the last question. So yes, I see a hand.
Thank you. I'm Fanny Benedetti from the French National Committee for UN Women, and we are partnered on this. And I just wanted to comment on your earlier question, and I think you also meant to ask about whether men were ready to take on their role in the home as well, and to share the burden and the course, and to change a little bit the mindset on what they're expected to do at work and also at home, and and I think that's also the key. And we can't always rely and hope that that women are at the center of this. It has to be change has to happen together, involving men, and that's a big challenge of society nowadays. So I just wanted to point that out, and that's actually one of the campaign that UN Women is leading. It's called He for She, and I'm just wanted to mention it because I'm sure you've heard about it. Thank you.
We all heard Emma Watson with her speech, and we truly believe in that. So thank you very much. You will find some reports today in the Women's Forum. You can also download the document on the website of Mazars, mazars.com, and of the website of the UN French Committee. And we thank you very much, these nice ladies from the 5 continents. Thank you very much for your time and for being here. Thank you very much, and enjoy the evening.